All right. This is a different show. This is something I came across the other day. When I get it, like basically, the algorithm suggested it to me. And all hail the algorithm. May he choose your video. I don't know. I'm just being stupid, but yeah. This is the video, and if you've been watching my channel recently, you know I've been doing a few videos on Mr. West, Professor West, Dr. West, Cornel West, everyone, on the Laura Flanders show. Let's continue. Oh shit, I gotta go back. Start it over. By the way, while I'm resetting this video, I wanna thank everybody who's taken the time to watch, like, and subscribe to or follow my channels. What would really help me a lot, guys, is if you can, just please think about helping support my channel by going to my either my Streamlabs page at the bottom of the page, or is that a motherfucking? That's a motherfucker. Oh shit, Mama Bear, Mama Bear. Thank you. Hold this for me. But go to my Streamlabs at Crimson60620, and if you can donate to my page, it's actually it'd be very very beneficial for you to do that for me. But let's go.
Hi, today on the Laura Flanders Show, Dr. Cornel West considers everything from Black Lives Matter to the death of blues master B.B. King. Welcome to our program. What does it mean to be a public intellectual in today's modern world? Our next guest has received both the plaudits and the attacks that come with the job. He's been an outspoken supporter of many causes others won't touch and an equally outspoken critic of President Barack Obama.
So this is actually, I believe, 4 years old. Let me just take a look at when this video was actually done. Video. When was this video done? Oh, 2015. Yeah, 4 years old. This is actually still doing the Obama administration. So let's continue.
He was the civil rights elder most warmly embraced by people, activists on the ground in Ferguson and Baltimore. He's less popular on MSNBC. Cornel West has written or edited dozens of books, including classics like Race Matters and Democracy Matters. His most recent is Black Prophetic Fire, written in conversation with Krista Buchendorf. He's collaborated with musicians from Prince to Jill Scott, KRS-One, and appeared in 25 films, including the entire Matrix trilogy.
Yeah, I didn't realize at first when I went back, I was like, damn, that is Cornel West. Like, he was literally in the Matrix. That's fucking awesome, though, for real. But let's continue. Maybe I can get some star metal.
All of that is nothing like having you here in the flesh, Cornel. Great to have you. Thanks for coming in.
I'm blessed to be here. And I want to salute you, my dear sister Laura. What a force for good you are.
I take it to the heart. So, what?
Damn, like she almost melted there just a little bit because he's like, I want to thank you, my dear sister Laura. Like, the fuck? Like, if he wasn't so poetic, you would think that he would be hedonistic. That's just who Cornel West is. But let's continue.
What a trajectory. When I went back just to remind myself of some of the facts of your life, born in Tulsa, went to Harvard, first African-American to get a PhD from Princeton in 1980 to today at the Union Theological Seminary. It's an extraordinary span. How do you kind of trace the course of your life, and what does it say about America?
Well, first, I think I've lived a blessed life. I think the highest honor I've ever had is to be the second son of Irene and Clifton, and to be the brother of Clifton, Cynthia, and Cheryl, and the father of Zaytoon and Clifton. I was fundamentally shaped, black family, black community, Shiloh Baptist Church, Black Panther Party right next door. Never a member, but very much involved in the activities, from feeding the children to visiting the prisons and so forth. So that was really the two pillars, the family community on the one hand with the music, and then the church on the other. So by the time I went to Harvard, Yale, and Princeton, they were wonderful supplements to help me provide certain kind of analytical tools and broaden my vision and so on. But it's fundamentally about just trying to tell the truth as it relates to the plight of poor and working people here and around the world.
God damn it! Like, does he just come and spit that shit just right off the top of his dome? Like, God, I think I gotta go just change my underwear a little bit. I just peed on myself a little bit. How excited and how flowing that was. Fucking poet. And what did he say? Some of the most important things I am is a son, a brother, a father. Those are the most important things, not some intellectual. But he didn't even leave it at that. He also said, I help people in the community. I stood up for everybody. And then he didn't even leave it at that. I cared about people. God damn it. And when he says, and then I started to learn. And then I started to go to these prestigious schools. I was somebody before I went to these prestigious. Wow, I can't say. I was somebody before I went to these fancy schools. I said it right at first. I'm just tripping right now. And now it's just like, this was only parts. It supplemented who I was. Not that I am in spite of going there, or that's nothing, or it's all came together to just be a better me. That's what he said in that soliloquy. That's what he said. And that effectively, which was a Gish Gallop, but you don't want to interrupt somebody when he's making lyrical poetry like this. But let's continue.
But that combination of the radicalism of Malcolm X or the Black Panthers, and well, you've spoken about your admiration for the theologian James Cone. That combination, how'd you characterize it? Is it liberation theology, something different?
I think it's just a human thing. It's just trying to love your neighbor and trying to be honest about structures of domination, so that you try to ensure that you touch people's lives such that they can be as free as they can in the short time that you're here. And I learned that very much in family and church. It's just that once I got exposed to, Marxist analysis of capitalism, feminist analysis of patriarchy, anti-homophobic analysis of losing sight of humanity of gay brothers and lesbian sisters and trans and cis folk, and most importantly for me, coming to terms with the legacy of white supremacy. I mean, empire as well, with imperialism and what have you, but really wrestling with the legacy of white supremacy and trying to ensure that you live a life of self-respect and some self-determination.
Do you remember when all those...
Let's just address this. This is a Christian that sat back and just says, I'm being a Christian and I'm loving my neighbor and I'm loving everybody. And he says, I try to understand other people and how the history of oppression and injustice affects us all. He quite literally just says, I'm an ally in the truest sense of the word. And let's talk about the first thing he led off with is economics. It's about the money, Lebowski. Let's continue.
those pieces kind of fell into place. I remember for me realizing, oh, white supremacy is a positive. I mean, is a active force,
Right,
not
right,
just
right.
kind of backdrop. Do you remember that moment?
It was probably when I was about 9 years old. I refused to salute the flag because my uncle had been lynched and they wrapped his body in the U.S. flag as it hung from the tree. All of a sudden I said, oh, it's not just evil in the world, but this is touching home. This is a personal and intimate thing. And I had a name for it, racism. No, my uncle said white supremacy, that cuts deeper. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. But it's just one evil among others, you know, imperialism and anti-Jewish hatred, anti-Muslim hatred, anti-Arab hatred, anti-white hatred. They're all forms of evil. It's just a wrestling with evil in the world and what you're going to do about it.
Now, that's actually key. He said it. He said he's been touched by the prejudice. But more importantly, it's more than just white supremacy. And that's key. It's more than just racist. It's more of white supremacists. And it's not even that. He's not playing this whole quote unquote oppression Olympics. He's actually saying that there are a myriad of different people that are suppressed and are hurting. And we need to look to making sure that we address people's hurt. And that's the thing. Addressing people's hurt is a key cornerstone of what needs to be done. But let's continue.
And structures.
Oh, Lord, yes. You know, white supremacy is a structure as well as a prejudice. It works on the individual level and it works on the structural institutional level. You are absolutely right.
Have you been as excited as I have to see movements like the Black Lives Matter movement in Baltimore and Ferguson really taking that structural analysis and bringing it to the streets? You went to Ferguson along with a lot of elders and talking to people there. We've had a lot of the Ferguson activists on the program from Black Lives Matter and others. They've said not all the elders were as welcome as you were, but you were Brother West, Professor Cornel, you were embraced.
Well,
what did you do different?
Well, no,
So one of the things, and I know there are a lot of African Americans that just don't like Black Lives Matter. And it's for a number of different reasons. Some people actually think that they cause too much division as far as bringing attention. They don't do enough. They go too far. They don't have a leadership structure so anybody can actually claim association in that group. But I will say this. Is it helpful to bring in is it helpful to bringing bringing attention to some of the things that a lot of African Americans have actually wanted to bring up and actually address? Yes. Are they always going about it the right way? No. But when you don't have a leadership structure where it's one person in charge, yes, there are drawbacks to that, but there are also some pluses and minuses, because then it's not just one target that they can take, that somebody can be taken down with one scandal. And it's also giving a voice to people who literally have been complaining that they have no voice. But let's continue.
You got to go in just like a jazz musician trying to learn something from the younger generation. You know, you have a certain genuine humility and a certain willingness to learn and listen and to stand alongside. Now, whatever advice or insight they think I can bring, I try to give it. but to stand alongside. You know, these old messianic models of leadership, usually deeply patriarchal. It's HNIC, the head Negro in charge, the Pied Piper, everybody's following.
That
Those
Negro
days are
tends to be a
over.
man.
Always patriarchal to the core, to the core. Now, Ella Baker, her legacy, it's a democratic leadership, it's collective leadership, it's grassroots indigenous leadership.
So what does that mean in concrete terms? You're there, you're on the streets, the cameras are rolling, you're the person that can get a lot of attention. What do you do to implement, to be an Ella Baker type of an elder rather than...
Well, when it comes to corporate media, unlike, thank God, the truth telling that goes on on your TV show.
So he's about to make a very interesting point, and I watched this earlier, but this is actually pretty cool. The first reason why he had the attention and the will behind a lot of these groups is because he didn't come off and say, hey, I'm Cornel West, listen to me. He never has this thing. And yes, he goes on these long, just gish gallop times of speaking. But it's never to say, I'm fucking better than you. It's always to say, this is what I've learned. Please tell me what you've learned. And you can do nothing but respect these. I literally have videos that are like 2 hours in lengths that I want to respond to from Dr. West, but I fear doing it because it's just me like, damn, that's an interesting point. Damn, this is this. It would be a poor, very poor way of me responding to videos because it's just, he's like Richard Wolff and God, they're friends. So it's one of those things where it's just like, God damn it. And coming from a place of, maybe it's because you had the unpopular opinion that you've had to sit back and listen to people talk and speak and express, but you still had to know your shit. The responders and debaters such as him, such as Cornel West, such as Richard Wolff, these are the people that fucking Destiny wish he can actually espouse to. This is what people like. This is just like, wow. Yeah. They wish they can respond to the people, have people just listening to you, not because of your stature of I did this book, I did that book, but because you actually engage with them, because you can actually sit down and have a conversation with them. These are what some of these people who get on the internet and debate wish they can actually do. Do you have some people that can do it on the right? Yes, in a way. Give Mr. Jordan Peterson a microphone where he's uninterrupted and he can probably do this. But just to sit back and have a conversation, even with people that don't disagree with you, but they sit back and just have a conversation and they can just persuade you to their side, fucking awesome. But let's continue.
Oh, that I say I refuse to do interviews unless I have a young person alongside me. Come on, Sister Ashley. Come on, Brother Torrey, Brother Teff. So that in that sense, then the cameras hit, and they ask me a question, I just ricochet, let them respond. Why? Because the world needs to hear their voices. The Black Anthem is lift every voice. And we need to hear the voices of young people because the Black Freedom Movement is not going to remain alive if it's not transmitted and bequeathed to the younger generation. They pick it up, same courage, same vision, same willingness to suffer, same willingness to live and die.
So this is actually a very, very important point. The point is that he said it. Well, I'm not going to come on a big TV show, a big network TV show, when it's just me, myself. He literally, as somebody who is a prominent voice in the movement, actually sit back and says, well, since I got my foot in the door, all you rest of these people are coming in. Since I got my foot in the door, let's hear and let's listen to somebody else's point of view. Let's give these young ladies and young men opportunity in order to be better. That's what Cornel West does. That's what he gives people. That's why he has so much pull with young people. Not because he is Cornel West. No, because he actively tries to give people more of a voice. But let's continue.
That's the only way that tradition stays alive.
You had a conversation a few years ago at the New York Public Library with Jay-Z, the rapper.
Yeah.
And one of the things that came out of that stuck with me was your reflection, or maybe it was his, on singing in harmony, whispers, you name it,
Right,
versus the rapping tradition of being the front man. One of you suggested that it creates some different models for leadership.
All right, cool. So I got to go back and watch that video. I haven't found it. To be quite frank with you guys, I didn't really look it up, but he sat back and had a conversation, and I got to watch it. But listen to the point that he's making. The point that he's making, even in his style of music and lyric, and just the way he pulls up music and the way he thinks about things. This isn't just, I'm saying it for the camera. This is just a style. Let's examine that question. Rap where you're all about me, or doing things in harmony? And let's kind of listen to his take on this.
Can you explain?
Well, I just think that you got the oligarchs who run the radio, video, live performance industries. They don't want groups like Dramatics, the Delphonics, the Whispers, Jones Girls, Emotions, the Marvelettes, or the Temptations. They want single ego, often egoistic males out there with just a microphone.
Like, how does he come up with all of these names and words? Like, he just hits facts. Like, this group. Like, how does he come up with this just off the top of his head? The guy's in his, like, 60s, late 60s, or maybe even 70s. And he's just coming just off the top of his head. God damn. I guess if I keep playing video games this much, my mind will be fried. But shit, I wish I can keep the mental fortitude that he keeps at his age. But let's listen to the first part of his answer is more marketable for the oligarchs to promote one person and boost up their egos. Ironic that he was talking to Jay-Z. Let's continue.
And so what happens is you no longer have the voices raised together, listening to each other, harmonizing, and making a collective performance as it relates to the collective audience. So there's a we consciousness. See, we live in hedonistic, narcissistic, rapaciously individualistic times, and you see it in the music where it's all now more and more about the money as opposed to the music. And the music was about soul stirring. It was not just about body stimulation. Nothing wrong with stimulating your body. James Brown would do that. But James will move your soul, and so will Aretha, and so will Donny Hathaway, and so will Nina Simone and the others. And that's the tradition the young folk need to be part of. Now, on the other hand, the younger generation, they got Kim Burrell, they got Jill Scott, they've got Anthony Hamilton and Raheem DeVaughn and some others who move your soul, but they push to the margins. Yeah. They push to the margins.
Did you and Harry Belafonte have words with Jay-Z?
Oh, God.
Oh, we did. We had some wonderful words. And Lupe Fiasco was there as well, as you know.
My boy
but,
Lupe.
I mean, Jay-Z's a lyrical genius. There's no doubt about it. But the question is, we've had geniuses before in black culture. The question is what you're going to do with it.
Yeah.
Who you going to serve?
Ferguson.
So, and even with, like, I'm sorry, he did just throw some shade to Jay-Z, but, like, God damn it. Even when he's throwing shade, except for later on in his video, but even when he's throwing shade, it's just like, no, this is cool, dog. Like, this is fucking awesome. I mean, like, goddamn, like, all right. I'm not gonna do this for too long, but like, goddamn, even with throwing shade, he's like, oh no, he's still a great lyricist. I don't know. What do I need? Damn it. Anyway, let's go.
Baltimore, New York, Cleveland, already in the Bay Area, certainly Florida, go back to Trayvon Martin. What is happening in this country vis-a-vis policing? Are we just seeing things we didn't see before? Or is there really some new level of brutality that's coming out in the streets?
Well, one, this marvelous new militancy among the younger generation. It's multiracial, it's multicultural, led primarily by young black folk, primarily black women, and primarily by black queer women. New phenomena in that sense. But we know every 28 hours has been a black or brown person shot over the last 10 years, with not one policeman rendered accountable in the form of going to jail.
Right.
Black president, black attorney general, black Homeland Security cabinet member, all those black faces in high places, not translating into justice. The rule of law is still deeply racist. But of course, we know how classes it is. Look at Wall Street, all the crimes on Wall Street, market manipulation, insider trading. Not one Wall Street executive of high order going to jail. They still dominate the government up to this day. So that the connection between that rule of law that is deeply racist, deeply tilted toward Wall Street and the well-to-do, and then also suspended when it comes to imperial policies, the drones dropping bombs on innocent people. It was a good thing to see the president apologizing for the American life and the Italian life, but when it comes to thousands of lives in Pakistan and Afghanistan and Somalia.
Like, I had to stop here because it was getting a little bit too long, but just like listen to that first part of that answer. A lot of people wondered why there were so few people that were behind candidates for president like Cory Booker or candidates for president like Kamala Harris, which Obama was kind of backing to be the next president because she was an African-American woman. But just because you look like me doesn't mean that you have my best interest in heart. Because if you're still butting up to corporations, Wall Street, and all of these other people that are looking out for the fucking money, that's a problem. And people wonder why Bernie Sanders is so popular, because people know, whether they believe with his politics or not, he's the most popular senator in the fucking country because they trust the fact that he believes what he says. You may not like what he says all the time, but he believes what he says, and he would do his damnedest to try to make sure that people have a fair shake. Now, unlike what D-Roy says, as we did in the last video, it's not about taking and punishing somebody because they unjustly are the target of quote unquote woke politics. Or no, Bernie Sanders is somebody who actively cares about the well-being of other people and not just himself. But let's continue.
Yemen and Libya, 230-some children, innocent children dead. Not a mumbling word from Mr. President. You see that kind of thing burns me up.
Well, it does. But
okay, so let's talk about this. And I said it before that Obama expanded Bush's policies of the drug war. He did. Not drug war, I'm sorry. The war on terror. And because of that expanded war on terror, it led to an expansion of the war in Yemen. And Trump actually just did even worse with that. So much so that he tried to get us at war in Iran, in Iraq. And Cornel West should be upset about it, because it is one of the things that how do I get that shit? Fuck. Anyway, it's one of the things that is causing a lot of hatred in the U.S. It causing a lot of hatred with a lot of the people in the Middle East. But let's let this keep going. Hold on.
Burn you
That
up, and it's
burns
got
me
you
up.
into a certain amount of trouble in the black community with
That's
your
fine.
former mentee, Michael Eric Dyson.
Oh, we got to pray for that Negro. Yeah.
Dyson dedicated 10,000 words in the New Republic.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. I gotta look this up. But like, the way he just said it, boy. The way he just said that, boy. He just like, God damn. That just like, ooh. But he's not been shy about criticizing people who he's not been shy about criticizing people who are, he said it, he's not shy about criticizing people who are in power that advocate things that he actively stands against. But let's continue.
Recently, to taking basically your record apart. He tried to school you in how to criticize Obama in that piece. And he talked, your former student, about it's better to say you support the guy, he's up against a lot, he's failing, or he has.
Okay, so yeah, no, fuck that. How do you deal with that? So you lightly, gently critique a little bit. No, you actually call out the same bullshit with the person you like as if somebody that you don't like. That's what being. How do you fucking use it? That's what being a principled person would actually do. That's how a principled person would actually act and perform. Hold on, guys. Give me a second. I want to actually do one thing. I apologize, guys. I'm just looking for something. That's how that works. All right. Sorry about that, guys. Just looking up something. But that's how somebody who has principle does. They criticize the improper action and not just somebody who's their enemies. But let's continue.
Has failed on some occasions than what you do, to which he says that you said, well, that's how we're different. What's wrong with his approach?
Well, I mean, he can have the approach he wants. Again, I want everybody to lift their voice. But the question is whether you're going to be honest and candid about it. You see, when I hear talk about Wall Street government, Main Street left out to dry, when I hear talk about a drone presidency and I see the innocent lives lost, when I see massive surveillance that Brother Snowden and Sister Manning and others have disclosed, righteous indignation flows. ecological catastrophe, going to corporate greed. Then we got the new Jim Crow, you got decrepit schools and so forth. Then if he says, no, we need polite language in order to support the president and maybe have a criticism every now and then, I say,
I know what I say. Fuck that. I will say that just off of GP. Fuck that. You called out bullshit when you see bullshit. Fuck that. Guess what? If you're in politics, it's going to be hard. Guess what? If you're fighting to stand for people, it's going to be hard. God damn, Obama was a community organizer. Fight. Don't be so concerned with your power. Fight. I've heard this. Defense of Obama before, where people were like, well, you know, they said they weren't gonna like him when he first came in. Give him something that they really won't like. Fuck that. Fight. Give them something that, if they're gonna be pissed at no matter what you do, give them something to be pissed about. Give them something to be pissed about. But let's continue.
you know, we two different kind of black men. I'm full of righteous indignation to see these structural injustices. And I think what we have, and Brother Dyson, of course, he's not just a former student. I've known him for over 30 years, but he was my very close brother.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it. So when I read as much as I could read, it was hard to get through the whole thing. It was painful because I could see him in such pain and anguish because we were so close. You know what I mean? I said, ooh, brother, this looks like a little narcissistic self-projection. You see in yourself when you're looking at me in terms of you got me wrong. I'm trying to tell the truth and willing to pay a price. You were telling the truth for a while, but unwilling to pay the price.
Wow, see, that's actually fucking awesome. Because when you are principled enough to really feel that you're telling the truth, even though you're going to take a cost, that says something about your character. But let's continue.
You change, you become one of the president's men, and now you get rationalization for your deference to the status quo. Now, if you want to be, deference to the status quo, that's a choice people make. There's black conservatives, there's black liberals, there's black neoliberals. He wants to be a black leftist. You can't be a leftist and act like a neoliberal. You can't do it. There's something called the truth that's bigger than all of us.
Oh, shit, I call it. Cornel West was the first one to say you can't be, to call out the hate against leftist versus liberal. I'm a leftist. I'm sorry. I'm a fucking leftist. I am a leftist. I will say that. Sorry about that, guys. Hit something and caused the stream to go kind of crazy there for a second. But let's continue.
So it's not about ego that you didn't get the tickets to the inauguration you were looking for?
Oh, no. I mean, anytime you do 65 events for somebody within 11 months, you think you deserve a ticket for your mother. I mean, that's just decent for me. So in that
Damn. Haven't you learned? Oh, this was before then, but yeah, neoliberals are fucking awful. Neoliberals are fucking awful, and I say that facetiously. You do 65 events for somebody, of course, you should have actually gotten a ticket for, for your mother. Just like doing 41 campaign rallies for, I don't know, your fucking primary rival. That means to a neoliberal you didn't do enough because you just didn't bow your fucking head. Hello, Hillary Clinton supporters.
In that sense. And not only that, but that has nothing to do with drone presidency, Wall Street presidency. Right. These are the issues. And see, I was reading my dear brother's piece as we plan to go to Ferguson, Baltimore, and I'm thinking, this is a distraction. You got all these deaths out here, this suffering out here. The last thing we need is some narcissistic discussion about two Negro intellectuals.
So let's move.
God damn it! Like he keeps slipping this in there of like, man, this is he's full of himself. But he's like, my brother, like you in one phrase, he said somebody my brother, but he's like, dude is full of himself. Like, goddamn. Let's continue.
Move on.
Yeah, absolutely. We got the people. We tried to serve the people.
Will you be supporting Bernie Sanders' campaign?
Well, I love Brother Bernie. He tells the truth about Wall Street. He really does. I resonate deeply with it. I'm not a Hillary Clinton fan at all, so if he uses his power to hand it over to her, I'll be deeply, deeply upset. But I also think in terms of foreign policy, you see that on the one hand, we've got escalating anti-Jewish hatred around the world, and we've got to fight anti-Jewish hatred under all conditions. On the other hand, we have a vicious Israeli occupation that needs to be highlighted because occupations are wrong.
Shit. Like, and the thing about it is, he is consistent with this message, and ironically, Bernie Sanders is consistent with this message as well. Sanders is, in him and of himself, a Jewish American. His parents actually escaped the Holocaust. He grew up in an area in Brooklyn where people still had the tattoos from being in the Holocaust. But you see this shit where it's just when you call out, like Cornel says, evil, you have to pay attention not just to the plight of the anti-Semitism that you see with different groups, but no matter what level of oppression that you believe that you have no right whatsoever to then turn around and oppress somebody else. That shit is not cute. That shit is not fun. That shit is not motherfucking great. No level of condemnation that you are taking as a group, be it gender, be it quote unquote race, gives you the right to turn back around and visit that upon somebody else. You don't have that right. But let's continue.
And I don't hear my dear brother Bernie hitting that. And I'm not going to sell my precious Palestinian brothers and sisters down the river only because of U.S. politics. Yeah. The truth cuts over against whatever the political arrangement is. So we got to be able to somehow keep track of anti-Jewish hatred, which is evil, and occupations of whatever sort. In this sense, vicious Israeli occupations, that's evil as well. And I think Bernie might pull back on some of those issues.
Where do you...
And yet he didn't. We saw it right before I went to this video. He didn't. And that's the thing. This is why when you have people who have a consistent record of being for the advancement of all people, this is why we have that benefit. This is why we find it where it's just, damn it, this is awesome. But let's continue.
See trans discrimination and trans equality in your constellation of justice?
I think it's a matter of just trying to be consistent. You know what the great Jane Austen called constancy. Can you be consistent from one context to the next so that you have some sense of integrity? So that, for example, with my gay brothers, lesbian sisters, or trans and cis folk, see, I don't want to be an ally. I'm a freedom fighter concerned about the freedom of human beings. They're human beings. In that context, I'm with them. Same is true with my sisters vis-a-vis patriarchy, or working people vis-a-vis capitalist bosses that are exploitative in the wonderful ways in which Richard Wolff has talked about this. He's a towering public intellectual along with Chomsky and David Bromwich. And,
Well, that's the difference between
Angela
sympathy.
Davis.
So this is something that you actually don't hear. You don't hear with a lot of people. It's not just that I'm an ally just out of some lip service. He actively says, I don't want to be an ally. I'm with them. Their pain is my pain. In the sense of, if somebody is actually feeling that hurt from what they're going through, their hurt is just as real as anybody else's hurt. It's just as real as my hurt. And we need to actually focus on that. And we need to actually make sure we address that with so many different people, because what ends up happening is, I don't know, like sometimes you can throw your allies under a bus, even though you've pledged to stand by them. No. Your rights are just important as mine. But let's continue.
And empathy, being in solidarity versus self-identifying.
Absolutely. And what you do, you're there, you show up. You see, you're there, you show up, and you don't ask for their permission, but you do ask for their consultation so that you're able to be a more effective freedom fighter in their context. But you certain moral consistency. Myself as a Christian is really a matter of spirituality too, because you see, for me, I'm a cross bearer before I'm a flag waver. And the cross is about unarmed truth and unconditional love.
God damn it. Did you, you should care more about your fellow man than you care about some fucking flag. I think Boyle, the fifth column, says it best. There is less difference between us. The only difference, a lot of it comes from, is the flag on the outside of the hospital that you're born at. Shit. He's not attacking? Oh, you. Let's continue.
And the condition of truth is always to allow suffering to speak, no matter who it is. And the love, of course, is about trying to make that contact with people at the psychic, existential level, as well as justice being what love looks like in public. So it's a matter of trying to bear witness in a public way. So in that sense, that's what I love about the best of Marxism. Internationalists across the board. A baby in Ethiopia, same status as a baby in Tel Aviv, same status as a baby in the West Bank, same status as a baby in Newtown, Connecticut, or a black baby in Harlem. And that sounds so simplistic, but when you follow internationalism, it can get you in trouble. Because nationalism is the most powerful ideology in the modern world, in some sense, in terms of what people are willing to live and die for.
I can't let you go without.
So that's, and again, it's, a lot of people take the flag that's outside the hospital where they're born as their identity, instead of just, I don't know, being a fucking human being and actually caring about that. We're all humans. We may not all have the same gifts. We may not have the same acumen to everything, but we have equal value under the fact that we're all humans. Are there some differences between us? Yes. But we all have the same value. And we should actually show that to each and every one of each other every day. But let's continue.
Celebrating and looking at the incredible legacy of bluesman B.B. King.
Yeah, my God, what a giant, what a giant. B.B. exemplified what the blues is all about, which is personal narrative of catastrophe expressed lyrically. And when he said, nobody loves me but my mom, she might be jiving too. That's catastrophe. But what does he do in the face of catastrophe? Style, with a smile, compassion, courage. And see, that's the history of a people, because I come from a blues people. What do we do in the face of slavery, Jim Crow, Jane Crow? Smile, style, love, justice. Hate it, teach the world something about love. Terrorize, teach the world something about freedom. That's Sojourner Truth, to Malcolm X, to Martin King, to Donny Hathaway, to Aretha Franklin. And it's a great tradition, and B.B. exemplified it at the highest level. I carry around with me this card that Brother B.B. and I used to talk about all the time in the trailer. You see this card? Dear Dr. West, jazz is the big brother of the blues. If a guy's playing blues like we play, he's in high school. When he starts playing jazz, it's like going on to school of higher learning. Because he always said, oh, you say you a jazz man in the world of the mind. I said, yeah, that's me, brother. I aspire to that. And I'm a blues man in the world of ideas. Well, that's, for me, is the highest title you can have, much deeper than public intellectual. Because when you're a jazz woman or a blues man, you're choosing to be a certain kind of human being. In the face of catastrophe, you still smile and have style and ready to fight.
And I know this is a little bit off topic, but that's what true stoicism is. In the face of catastrophe, in the face of losing it all, you're able to get up and keep going. And not some emotionless wreck, but you smile while you're styling. But let's let him continue.
Smile, style, love, justice, fight. Cornel West, thanks so much for coming in.
Thank
Great
you
to
so
talk to
much.
you.
What a blessing to be in conversation with you, my dear
You can get
sister.
more information about Professor West's work at our website. This week we're in Baltimore.
All right. So, wow. Damn.